Greetings, I'm Tim of Gothberg, and welcome to our channel. Today I will walk you through the proper usage and care of the 2018 25th anniversary Omega Seamaster Professional Diver 300 meter. This is an automatic winding watch by means of case-back winding mass, but should you wish to wind it up to its maximum rated power reserve of 55 hours, you can do so by simply threading the crown counterclockwise until you feel and hear it pop from its threaded stem tube. You will then wind in a clockwise direction. 25 to 35 turns will be enough to start the movement, and then you can set the watch and you can continue wearing it. It will wind itself, but once more, if you wish to wind it to its full power reserve, simply continue turning. Approximately 60 to 75 turns should be sufficient, but if you listen for a subtle click or tick within the movement, that's the audible sign that the bridle style mainspring is slipping. It's designed to do so to relieve any excess strain, so you cannot accidentally overwind the watch, but that subtle sound will be your indication that the watch is fully wound. At this point, you can put the crown back in and you can continue wearing the watch. Or you can set the timepiece if you need to correct the time. It's important to note that there are two subsidiary setting functions. One is known as hacking or stop seconds. It's the function by which you can synchronize to a reference, and the other is the quick set for the date. We'll discuss time setting and stop seconds first. Wait for the seconds hand to approach the index at 12 o'clock. When it reaches, simply withdraw the crown 2 detents to a stop. You halt the seconds hand. What you want to do at this point is find an accurate reference, such as an online atomic clock, set to your time zone. You want to set the correct hour. Let's say it is 6:14 right now. I'm going to set 6, but I'm not going to set 14. I'm going to set 1 minute ahead, 15, and I'm going to wait for that reference to catch up with me. The second the time indicated on your reference matches the hour, minute, and second you've set on your watch, push that crown back in, resume the beat of the balance. Now you've synchronized to a reference time. The intermediate position between winding and stop seconds is the quick set position. Here, you can turn the crown counterclockwise and rapidly cycle the date to correct should the watch encounter an irregular length month or run down at some point. Be careful not to use this function between the hours of 8 p.m. and 4 a.m. as this is the span during which the movement is engaged in the automatic turnover of the date. Attempting to quick set the date during automatic turnover can crash the movement and cause damage. So take note of the time of day before using the quick set. If it is night and you need to advance the date, simply turn that hour hand manually through midnight and out of the danger zone before doing so. The timepiece should always have its crown restored to its flush position against the case after winding or setting, as this will prevent abrasion damage and also ensure the watch meets its factory rated water resistance of 300 meters. The helium escape valve is used for saturation divers. If you are using exotic gas mixtures that might involve large amounts of helium penetrating the seals of the case, you simply screw out the helium escape valve. For the first time in this generation of the watch, you can open it underwater, but in general, it's opened prior to a saturation dive. And rather than blowing out the crystal or evacuating the seals of the watch, the helium escape valve will open when pressure inside the watch reaches 2 to 3 bar beyond the exterior atmospheric pressure, so it prevents crystal blowout. Simply screw it back into position after your dive to prevent it taking any shearing or abrasion damage. The bezel is used as a timing organ. You can align the luminescent pearl of the bezel with the minute or hour hand as your requirements dictate. In general, the pearl is lined up with the minute hand to form an impromptu 0 to 60 minute timer. It's an excellent count-up timer that's far more legible than a chronograph, and you may find that even if you do own a chronograph, you prefer to use the bezel simply because it's a bigger and easier scale to read than a chronograph subdial. The timepiece features a robust bracelet with individual removable links sized by screws. You'll also find that there's a great deal of adjustability inside the clasp. You have the all or nothing fold-out dive extension, but you also have a push-button slider, which will give you 9.6 millimeters of incremental adjustment. So if you are going to use the extension over anything from a dive suit to a thick winter coat, it simply pulls out. But if your wrist might expand or contract, short of actual diving activities, the push-button slider is ideal for micrometric sizing. It's also ideal if you can get close to the size of a wrist to which you are giving this watch as a gift. You can size it on the spot to fit. The timepiece faces a number of hazards in service, and I'm going to delineate these and recommend best practices for avoiding worst-case scenarios. Let's discuss water and let's discuss shock. Water first. It's important to note that you can help avoid accidental drownings by keeping your crown screwed down and disusing all of its functions. While the helium escape valve on this watch can be opened while submerged, the crown never should be. Never use the crown to wind or set the watch. Never withdraw the crown from its stem tube in its flush position, not just while the watch is submerged, but while there is water on the case. Dry the watch fully before withdrawing the crown. It's also important to note that water resistance is not a static feature of a watch, and over time, as seals age and lubricants degrade, a watch will be relatively less water resistant than when first purchased. Omega recommends having an annual water test performed to ensure that the watch continues to meet its factory-rated hermeticity. This is also an excellent time when checking the water resistance and water integrity at an authorized service center to have the full cosmetic, water-resistant hermeticity, as well as chronometric performance of your watch checked to determine whether a full overhaul might be required. It's ideal to avoid concussive activities while using your watch. Shock is a major threat. Though the watch does meet the ISO norms, the 1413 standard, as a shock-resistant watch, nevertheless, there are certain extreme activities that should be avoided. Avoid batting, tennis, or golf, concussive sports that can damage a fine mechanical movement. Avoid firearms marksmanship while wearing the watch, as well as ATV or mountain bike riding. Ultimately, every fine timepiece requires a comprehensive overhaul per Omega every 3 to 5 years. It's ideal to have the watch checked overall during your annual water test, and should a comprehensive service be necessary, the watch will be disassembled. All parts will be checked for integrity. The case and the bracelet will be refinished to factory standard. Water resistance will be restored to factory rating, and the movement will be cleaned, oiled, and adjusted to retain its Omega high performance, both in terms of power reserve, resistances, as well as chronometric precision. Service exclusively with an Omega authorized service center, as these agencies solely have the specialized tools, trained personnel, and original Omega factory replacement parts to protect the value of your watch as both instrument and as investment. Moreover, only these agencies are authorized to back all labor and parts invested with an Omega factory service warranty. To learn more about the care or usage of this or any fine Omega timepiece, visit our website at govbergwatches.com and text, email, or call our experts who will be happy to walk you through every phase of the Omega ownership experience.